So today I just want to talk about the coronavirus job retention scheme, as there have been some changes to the scheme that hopefully you've seen either through information directly from ourselves or on the news, etc. As a result of obviously the sort of second wave, as they're calling it, of the coronavirus, and obviously a nationwide lockdown, the government has decided to extend this scheme. Okay, now they're going to extend it to from November through to 31st of March 2021. The government is actually looking at this extension as sort of two periods. We've got information for how the first sort of chunk is going to work up into January 2021, but beyond that, the government is actually going to leave it open so that they can assess it in the new year to see what the sort of economy is doing as to whether, what levels of support the businesses actually need. Okay, so as soon as we have that information, we'll obviously update you guys accordingly. So if we look at this extension up until January 21 and what we know, so employees during the period, November through to January 2021, will receive 80% of their usual salary for hours not worked, up to a maximum cap of £2,500 per month. And that cap will be proportional to the hours worked, obviously. So if you have someone that an employee you're going to furlough on a part-time basis, that monthly cap will be prorated accordingly. Okay. Now, with some of the sort of eligibility criteria, from an employer's point of view, employers don't have to have previously used this scheme before. So when it first came in back in March 2020, up to obviously when it was due to end 31st of October 2020, employers don't need to have used that scheme at all then. They would still be eligible this time round. But also employers can be open for business or closed for business. Either way, if your business has been affected by coronavirus, then your employees, if eligible, would be able to use this scheme. So if obviously you're open, it could be that you've had reduced demand, which means that there's not as much work for your staff. Obviously you don't want to lose them, so you can look to furlough certain staff members. Or, you could look to furlough staff members on a part-time basis, whatever's going to fit in with the work that you have got and the work that you do need your staff to do. But likewise, if your business has had to shut because of coronavirus, again, to help keep your staff on the payroll, you can furlough them. And obviously you've got this funding available, so up to 80% cap of 2.5 to help keep the staff on the payroll for when hopefully you can open again soon. From an eligibility from the employee side of things, so the employees must have been on your payroll on 30th of October 2020, and you must have made what we call a real-time information submission, or an RTI submission for short, somewhere between the 20th of March 2020 and the 30th of October 2020. And it's also worth mentioning that employees don't have to have been furloughed before in order to be eligible for it now. So again, it doesn't matter what's happened in, the first 6 months leading up to this point. It just matters if they're eligible during this period and you need to use it, you can, which is good. From the employer contribution side of things, obviously I've talked about what the government grant is. But what they're going to do is they're going to make it like how the scheme was back in August 2020. So what that means is for hours not worked by their employee, employers will be required to contribute to cover the national insurance and the employer pension contributions. Okay, now, so obviously that restricts the employer's contributions to help obviously keep those staff on the payroll. And it's also worth mentioning that if obviously you are furloughing staff on a part-time basis and they are actually doing some what we call normal hours work for you, then as the employer, you are required to pay for those hours worked as you would normally. Okay, so there's no sort of difference there. And as I said, the government is going to sort of reassess this situation in the new year, and then they'll make judgments as to how this scheme is going to go up until the end of March 2021. Do they need to keep the level of grant and support the same, or are they going to reduce it because maybe the economy has improved a little bit, or the situation has improved a bit, dare I say. So once we get that information, we will let you know. So hopefully you found that quick update useful. There is much more detailed information on our website, so please do take a look. But also please don't be afraid, get in touch with us. We can talk through this with you individually to look at your specific situations, to see what's going to work for you and your business to help you through this second wave. Okay, so thank you very much and take care.